It's not possible to talk about my time in Vietnam and being deployed with the U.S. military, essentially being part of a military organization, without also talking about the impact of drugs, marijuana, and the mindset that pervaded many parts of the military. After the decision was taken in late 1968 to begin the withdrawal, the Vietnamization policy. And with that decision by President Nixon to essentially turn the war over to our South Vietnamese allies, the message that was conveyed was America is no longer in this struggle to win, to prevail, but that we were winding down our presence there in this struggle, that the Tet Offensive and the events of 1968 had caused American society, Americans, to rethink or think through what we were doing there, and the will to carry forward the war, to prevail, because it was part of this international struggle against communism, was cut in half, rended, and no longer was there the broad agreement, the will of the American people. Now, I want to be absolutely clear and say that in this period, after 68 until all the American withdrawal in 1973, I saw countless Americans that I was deployed with, that I operated with, officers, NCOs, who put their lives on the line, who never altered what they did in one iota, who were true to their comrades, true to our country, and brave in battle, and determined to carry forward all their oath as officers, as members of the U.S. military. At the same time, there were stories and signs that I saw about how among younger enlistees, draftees, young individuals first time in the military, who would be on the front lines, who would be at risk. And this sense of what is it that we may be dying for, giving our life for. And there was a philosophy, that a mindset that pervaded and that was captured in maybe this one sentence. No one wants to be the last person to die in Vietnam. I would see it in morbid slogans written on the walls of restrooms. I would see it in the conversations that I would hear. Since I was a civilian, I could be around lower ranking enlisted people, hear them talking in sort of gallows humor. And I heard it from young Army officers who had been deployed with American divisions and who would then be transferred to our advisory team and would tell me about how there was such resentment among all of their troops against any officer who was too gung-ho, who wanted to put them at too much risk, that those officers were in danger of being fragged, of a friendly hand grenade, a friendly gunshot in their back, if they were doing things that made the risks too extreme for the troops in their unit. I heard it again and again. And then I saw it manifested in the use of marijuana. When young GIs would go on R&R flights, rest and recuperation, particularly to places like Thailand where marijuana was readily available, they'd bring it back. So one night in our team house, one of the sergeants came to me and he had all the weapons. He had all the rifles of the team members in his arms. And he said, sir, I have to get these away from our enlisted men. They're back there smoking pot, and they can't be trusted to be around guns with bullets in them. I heard it from the unit commanders of the helicopter units who said, we just know there are certain people that we can't allow to work on the helicopters because you can't trust them that they won't be on drugs when they do that. And they may do the work on the helicopter that's shoddy, inferior, and a pilot will take it up and the helicopter will break or come apart in the middle of combat. Even though I can't prove it, there are just some people I don't allow to work on the helicopters. And this grew and grew each year, 70, then 71, 72, and I heard it. And as the drawdowns were continuing and the number of American troops in Vietnam was down and eventually under 100,000, and no one wanted to be the last man to die in Vietnam. This culture was pulling apart, tearing apart the fabric, particularly of the U.S. Army, and it had to be stopped and ended, and it was, with the Paris Peace Agreement and the withdrawal of all remaining U.S. forces in 1973.